and you gonna murder this one and murder that one. Talking all that bullshit. I'm gonna put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, it's me and my only friends, which is included, but not limited to, Lee Jones. What's poppin', man? How are you?
I'm good. Rocking my Run It Up t-shirt.
I see that.
School,
I see
baby.
that.
Old school, keeping it real.
Jay Carver, if you're watching, I could use some new merch. This stuff is reaching the end of its shelf life.
Yeah, we could also use you in studio. What the fuck, man? I've been up his ass since he quote unquote came out of retirement briefly, and I just can't talk the kid into leaving his house. It's so hard.
Putting on a pair of pants.
It's hard, man. Like, I think if I could bring the podcast to him, like, all right, we're gonna set up in your apartment. You know, we'll just get everything. I think he would do it 5 days a week.
Only friends on the road.
Yeah, legitimately. I think we could just like barge into his house at like 11 a.m. Be like, hey, bro, we're doing a podcast now. I'd be like, sweet, let's go.
Let's go. I'll put on some pajamas and we'll do it.
You know, just have the Bink bell ready to go. His little raven on his shoulder. We'd just be off and running.
Hey, Mirko.
Can't get him to come here though.
I still have his knight right over my shoulder. That's Jay's.
No,
Is it really?
Yeah, he used to have that on his stream.
Oh,
And he had a little red
Oh,
light.
yeah, you guys
Wow,
have the
He had
same
a little red
thing.
light
Strong.
inside the thing.
that's not actually his.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Ah,
It's from when Dan and I used to live together in Princeville.
Gotcha.
I don't know why our designer thought it was a good idea, but that's what you were greeted by when you walked through the front door.
oh,
It was just
nice.
sitting next to an NT. It was actually, you know what? I'm not gonna knock it. It was a look. I don't know if it was a good look, but it was a look. It was definitely a look. We have LEDs in it.
Yeah, inside the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We gotta light it up for you, man. Get that background going.
What's poppin', Berkey? How you feeling?
We got a big one. Oh man, don't get me started.
Come on, talk to me,
Wait,
baby.
I thought you had a good day yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, in cash. And then I made
Yeah.
the poor decision of going to play a tournament, and now I hate life again. Right? How do you guys do it? I thought I was such
It
a
hurts.
genius. I'm like, oh, this is so good. Nobody would do this. Like, this is just so sick, and I know it's gonna work. I went and max late reg the Wynn 10K 10 million guarantee, and you get 25 bigs, whatever. I spin it up. We're at the last level of the night, like 20 minutes until bagging, and I have 50 bigs, so I had like 98K or something like that at 2K big blind. This guy had just doubled through Pesh, which, by the way, I fucking love Pesh. Like,
This is awesome.
no, you don't get it. Like, the game continues to change, and he's still as maniacal as he was 10 years ago. Like, he just does not give a shit. Money flies around with that kid like nobody's business. Like, you have to battle when he's at your table. So he actually gets aces, which is a cheat code,
Yeah.
and this recreational gets kings under the gun. And it goes like raise, Pesh 3 bets, guy 4 bets pretty big, Pesh calls, comes king high, GG. Not GG. Pesh had all the chips, so it didn't matter.
Gotcha.
But anyway, this rec just doubled up to like, I don't know, 150, 170, something like that. So he opens 4x under the gun. And I've already looked at my hand on the button, it's queens. I'm like, oh baby, he's not folding. I don't know what that hand is, but if it's better than mine, I'm going home because I know that guy is not folding. And I'm already working in my head like, I think I'm just going to jam if it folds to me for
Okay.
50. Like, I think I'm just going to do it. Like, he's just not going to fold. Another recreational calls in between. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have no decision. Like, I'm just all in. But I don't think this is a standard play. I
Wait,
think
for
like,
50?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's a standard, especially when you're in position. You know, I think you just kind of juice them a little bit, try to. Which, if I had done that, I'm pretty sure what would have happened is I would have made it like, you know, like
20 big blinds?
No, it's too many. It's half your stack.
16?
No, you have to make it like 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you're in position.
Something
like,
juicy.
Yeah, so you make it like 11. They both call. It comes ace king high, and I just stay in the tournament.
I'm back. I'm more on the side of all
But
lady.
instead, I want to play 100 big blind
I'd rather
pot.
just jam,
Yeah, I want to
fuck
play
this
100 big
shit.
blind pot. So I
Roll
rip it. And the first guy, he goes, Okay. And passes.
This
But
is
I think he
this is
only
a 5K you're playing?
a 10K.
10K. Okay.
But I think he only folded because of the guy behind him. And the guy behind him was just like, "Can I get a count?" And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me! Like, what do you have?" I was like, "I'm gonna get called by nines here. This is unbelievable." And the dealer miscounts my stack 3 different times. We arrived at 83,000, 88,000, 91,000. It was actually 96, but neither here nor there. He covered. I think somewhere around the 86,000 mark, he decided to call. And I table queens confidently, like, buddy, you just ran into it. It shows me ace king off, and I'm like,
Wait, what the fuck?
well, I don't win these
What is
ever.
this dog shit?
Not like he's sharing cards with the under the gun guy. I'll see you boys.
Yep.
Ace king 3 5 ace. Like, I'll see you guys later. I don't know why I fucking bother. But I did win 100 playing cash in the nastiest way. I was up like, I don't know, 15,000 maybe 8,000.
Okay.
And I get moved to the main game. And like the third hand dealt to me, I get queens under the gun. So maybe queens.
All right.
You know,
Ain't too bad.
now that I'm about to tell this story, I guess
They give it and they take it.
in
away.
hindsight, maybe all things are equal with kings versus ace king.
Oh, wait a minute. They took 10 and gave
100.
85.
Yeah.
you can do that alternating for a while.
Yeah, you're right.
Make some
You know
money.
what? Perspective is a difficult thing to maintain when it comes to the binary wins and loss. But so I opened to we're playing 1-2. I opened to 500 under the gun. Cut off 3 bets me to 2K. Small blind cold calls, big blind cold calls. I was like, okay, well, guess we're playing a big one. I go 10K. Cut off folds, small blind folds, big blind calls. And I've just played with him enough to know that, like, he's just not looking to mix it up with me when we're 90K effective.
Yeah.
And also, he tends to slow play ace king. And I just knew immediately, like when he called, I just knew immediately this is never tens or jacks. This is just ace king. like tens and jacks might just be like, you know what? I don't really want to. I think Pip just fell down the stairs.
Well, she seems to have recovered pretty
It's okay.
well.
She fell up the stairs.
What just happened?
I've been there. It's okay.
Pip, what was that, baby? Come here.
I've also fallen up the stairs. It's completely fine. So I just like kind of know this is just always ace king. Like jacks and tens kind of don't even want to mix it up. They're just like, whatever, you got it, you know, kind of. But ace king, it's just too good. You know,
Just can't
too
fold.
good.
Yeah.
Too good. So we see the king queen board. I go, got him. I got him. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bet small on the flop, not because I need to rope him along. I know he has a king. But because if an ace comes on the turn, I'm just going to muck my hand out. Like, I mean, I'm just, that's it. Like, if an ace comes on the turn, he's not even going to have to act. I'm just going to put my 2 queens in the muck and just like be done with this complete hand. So he checks. I bet 6K into like 20 or 24, whatever. He calls. Turn is the lovely deuce of clubs, putting the king deuce of clubs out.
What a beautiful
And he
thing.
checks, and we have like 80-ish. So I'm like, all right, I'll bet 20K. And he just smashes. I was like, I fucking knew it. Call. Please. One time, don't let me chop this. And he goes, you got queens? I'm like, I do. You got ace king? He goes, I do. Luckily, we faded both runouts. And honestly, that was the only pot I won all day.
Oh, that's nice.
I won more pots in the tournament, to be quite frank.
That's kind of how it works. You know, tournaments, you win a couple pots.
Yeah.
quickly.
Also, congratulations. I woke up on, I think it was Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon. And
yeah.
I saw that I had like 1,000 missed messages in one of our chats. And typically when that happens, something either really good has happened or something very bad.
Oh,
has
it was
happened.
both. Yeah, it was just both.
Yeah, I'll stick with the good stuff. But yeah, it was just mostly you being chastised for the way you played. But somehow you almost final tabled the 5K online.
Honestly,
So, congrats.
Landon just abuses me into getting better.
That
Like,
shit was
that's-
fucking hilarious.
I guess it's tough love, huh?
I will say I respond well to it, and I realize that it's also what I do to him. So it's very turnabout is fair play.
It's like that baseball coach who was like really mean to you, but really wanted to get the best baseball player
Yeah,
out of you.
no.
After I busted, I came out and he was yelling at me for an 8.5 big blind call off I made with King Jack. And I was like, do you really think that's what lost me this tournament? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, how about the 30 big blind flip I lost with queens versus ace king. He's like, that happens. And we keep going back and forth. He's like, I wanted you to win. And I was like, no, you didn't.
And I'm fucking dying. I'm just sitting there dying. Landon came outside as soon as he got home, and he just started pacing because I was in the hot tub. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, what is he doing? Like, he's not going to win this man playing like this. And I'm just starting dying. I'm just, shut the fuck up, get in the hot tub and watch the show.
If he just looked around and saw the people that are winning, he would understand that that's the only way you're going to win this thing. Like, get in 60 big blinds on the stone bubble with an open-ended straight flush draw? Yep, we'll do that.
Hello.
We'll do that. Get in the last. Oh, man, I got so lucky. Got in queens versus king queen on the stone bubble. Like we were hand for hand on 10, 9, 4, jack, all in, drawing stone dead, river king of diamonds. Hello. Keep me in there. I ran really good. I lost a very key flip. And yeah, I looked it up. The king jack, this is funny. It's a fold, but it's losing 0.1% pot, or sorry, it's losing 0.1 big blinds, which is like less than a percentage of the pot.
Too much.
And I'm just like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not perfect. I was fucking chip leading and called with king jack. Like, we're gonna be fine.
If that's the worst mistake you make in a tournament, like,
right?
You had a good day.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on. If we really zoom in on this, that's gonna look like that's an afterthought compared to some of the shit I was doing. But yeah, Osmus actually almost final tabled that. I don't know what his screen name is, but I guess he busted somewhere between 11th and 14th also.
Yeah, I was thinking he was old white man, and then I realized that he was playing the 215 Sadie to the main, so I didn't think.
Yeah, probably not him.
Yeah, not him.
Probably not him. But the final table was it's set now. I'm really upset that I didn't make it just because the final table was live.
Yeah.
Like if it just played down to a winner, I'd just be like, another bracelet run that came up short. Who cares? But like getting to play the final 8 out in the Thunderdome is kind of nice, you know.
I think they should do more of that with the online.
They
stuff.
have to with the bigger buy and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, you know, I don't really want to get into it, but like the whole Scott Ball calling out somebody in like level 4 of the event. It's like, what are we doing? First of all, like you have to show your face if you final table this thing. It's not like you can just randomly ghost somebody and then.
Well, she satellited in, right?
Yeah. And then on top of it, it's like it's level 4. You know, she has a stack and a half. Who fucking cares? Yeah. Like, satellite winners are going to do that. They're going to win some hands sometimes. You know, it's like...
No, she's a crusher now.
Yeah, what do we do? It's just getting ridiculous. It's like, look, I'm all for policing the online environment, especially in situations where we are fearful that there's too much ghosting going on and too much account buying and all this other bullshit. But, like, you figure it out, like, with 3 tables left whenever there's enough data compiled to say, like, hey, this stinks. You know, something doesn't add up here. Not like, hey, well, who's this screen name at my table? Oh, I don't recognize it. They have no caches online. Must be a ghost account. Yeah. Like, come on. What are we fucking doing?
I wish we just had real names.
Same.
That would just make life a lot easier.
Same.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
We all find out each other's fucking name anyway.
That ship has sailed.
Can you dig into that a little bit more? I mean, like, in the past when you were with Stars, was this ever a conversation?
No.
Not even remotely.
It was an absolute non-starter.
Really?
Yeah, because unfortunately, a big part of it was tax, right? And also is because back in that day, it was kind of a bad. I mean, poker kind of has that the seedy reputation and all, and people didn't want it to be known. Right, that they were playing online poker, and the point is that we don't really think about that because like we just live in this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, it's like they didn't want their legit friends knowing that they were playing online.
What
poker.
about now though, where KYCs are so much stronger, and
sure the site knows who you are.
I mean, it's all public information once you cash a tournament or something like that.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, if you're recreational, you don't want people knowing that you're gambling, like, you can't play these bracelet events because they're fully covered by Poker News and whatnot.
Right, but I haven't fought. Back in the day, we were absolutely prohibited from making a connection, even if the entire internet was saying that, you know, Justin Bonomo is the Justin.
Right.
We never said that this is Justin Bonnemoe.
Right. And I think that that's probably true of WSOP 2. I don't think their actual updates give real name.
So the point is,
but the third party media is able to publish it as they see fit.
If they know, right? But if you choose not to attach your real name to your screen name, I mean, you don't have to go out there and equate the two.
Maybe I'm missing something because they get this information. I mean, they have to be fed this information somewhere. Like, they'll just have a full cash list and give complete, like...
No, it has to be from WSOP.
That's kind of like what I'm thinking.
There's no other way.
Maybe because it's a regulated market now, this information becomes public.
Maybe so. I don't know because, we never worked in a regulated market.
I'm speculating, obviously.
Yeah, when I was at Stars.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the thing is. But yeah, Eastside was huge on player anonymity.
Yeah.
So,
I think back then that made a lot of sense. All the things that we knew about curating a good gaming environment and everything else. But I think now the market's so much more mature. The stigma is kind of being lifted a bit. But more importantly, I think that the nefarious activity that can take place through anonymity is just so much greater. Maybe it's the same as it was 15 years ago, but we're so much more aware of it now.
Right.
That in order to protect everybody, I think like real names is a real solution.
I think you might be surprised how many people don't want their legit world.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've seen some. Well, first, I play in a private atmosphere already, right? It's like we don't allow vloggers in there for a reason. You know, you can't film certain people. It's like they live an entire secondary life where nobody knows that they gamble at all, let alone play poker.
Sure, but I can walk into the Bellagio poker room and look in Bobby's room and
correct,
and see somebody.
Yeah.
And these days, I could just take my camera. I have the new Samsung Galaxy, and I could basically circle the person's face and probably
100x.
tell you their name.
Absolutely.
But if you're online, then nobody knows if you choose for it not to be known, and particularly if you're playing cash online and you're not playing a tournament. So
it's a dicey thin line, I guess, between wanting to pull in more recreational money from places that are, I don't even want to say seedy, but like places where people are really wealthy and may want to remain anonymous versus keeping the environment above board and a lot safer.
And to be fair, in many cases, probably most cases, it's really tax avoidance.
Yeah, but in a regulated market, that's not important.
Right.
Like like WSOP, we get like I cashed for 1K profit and I got a W2G in my email immediately. It's like they're not even giving me my fucking buy-in back without me filling out this form.
Right.
So maybe it's just like a trial thing that could happen in the regulated market. Like I would be happy with that, honestly. Like even if no other site did it but WSOP, like great.
Right, but ACR isn't sending out
No, of course not.
W2Gs.
Yeah, of course.
And if it's probably, if you think about it, it would be a huge competitive advantage for ACR.
Yeah,
they're not sending out W2Gs.
Yeah,
right?
But the same way that like it's a huge competitive advantage for WSOP to be the only regulated site in Nevada. You know what I mean? Like there's a give and a take. Like technically, we're not supposed to be playing Ignition and ACR here, but for the pros, I don't think any of that matters. Like as far as like competitive advantage goes, it's more of like what's attractive to recreationals, and some will gravitate towards what's legal. Others will gravitate towards what's most convenient and most anonymous. So,
why is Ignition and ACR technically illegal from here?
They're just black markets. They're not regulated.
Technically, we're not allowed to play. Well, technically, they're not allowed to operate in the United States.
What is technical about it?
The
is
DOJ
it just our state?
Well, specifically our state, Ignition can't operate in, and I think it's because of the regulated market. But even across the entire United States, it's a grayish black market in the sense that I think if the DOJ really wanted to lay a heavy hand.
No, that unless I'm grossly mistaken, that's not true, because the DOJ made a ruling about the Wire Act, which was basically what UIGEA was built on.
Yes.
That it did not apply to poker.
Yeah.
And it was specifically designed to apply to sports betting.
Correct. That I know that they reversed, I think, in 2021.
Yes.
But I didn't think that was the only gray area we had here.
It's the only thing I'm aware of.
Then what keeps Stars from They just want to be a part of the regulated market?
Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah, because
okay.
agreement that Stars made with the DOJ was that they would not come back in except in a regulated market.
What about like GG then? Why not just offer to us the way ACR does?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because they don't want any heat from the U.S. government?
Nah. Well, if what Lee's saying, there is no heat, is true, right? Like if it was just a Wire Act issue, which they reversed in, I think, 2021, then the heat gets removed. I think specifically for players, it's a non-issue. Like I don't think we're the ones at fault.
Right.
But for operators, I thought it was more than just the Wire Act. Again, I'm just speculating. I could be wrong.
Maybe it has something to do with like the agent like type background of GG.
Could be. I mean, it also could be why Club GG's fine here.
Yeah.
Not fine, but
yeah,
grayish,
yeah,
blackish, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look how
lobbyists, I'm sure, have a lot to do with it too.
I mean, I don't wonder because like look how Global operates.
Yep, they skirt the. That's it. Yeah, what law are they skirting?
Well, they use a sweepstakes model,
right?
Yes.
But in order to skirt what law? You would assume it's the Wire Act, right? Like, why not just accept real money?
I don't know.
It's interesting that like I think for a long time we've believed we understood why the market looks the way it looks, but I think so much has changed over the last 10 years and none of us have really kept up on it.
Yeah,
it's kind of confusing now, right? Like what is separating rest of the world from us other than red tape that seems like people could just say fuck you to the way Nagy does with ACR?
Yeah, I think probably a lot of the operators want to be regulated.
I mean, to be fair, Nagy can't come in the United States, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I'm saying is I think it's something more than just the Wire Act for the operator side. Yeah. Otherwise, like Nagy wouldn't just be living in Costa Rica, avoiding us at all costs.
Right.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. It's an interesting topic we could dig into a little bit more with maybe some research. This is the problem. This is why we get. This is why I specifically get like a bad rap because we open cans of worms that we don't necessarily have answers to, and nobody wants to hear us speculate on air.
Right.
It's like we're just kicking. We're just shooting the shit.
Yeah, this is our living room conversation.
Yeah, we're just having a good time, trying to
fair,
bring you all in.
No one is stating anything as fact. We're just kind of
right.
Yeah,
speculating. So.
That's very true. Well, one thing I do know is fact is that we have a great chance today to close the gap in this bet. Becker's busted the 10K win millions.
Love to hear it.
So Landon, that means 10K gets reversed, right?
Yeah, but Landon's in for 20, so that's whatever. But what is more important is Landon bagged 100 big blinds.
Let's go.
Love to
A
hear
little
it.
less, actually.
Let's go.
I think they're coming
like
back to
90,
2,500.
That's
Yeah,
not an
2,500
11. That's not an 11 blind stack like Brian has.
No. That's not.
You
Yeah,
guys you guys be nice to Tortoise.
Shout out to the Tortoise who's clinging to life in the Colossus with like 10 big blinds. Hopefully he can spin. But yeah, Landon comes back to 194K, big blind 2,500. So I guess about 80 bigs.
Yeah, 80 bigs.
Give or
Piles.
take. Piles for the kid.
Piles.
And he's in the money?
No, there are 215 people out of
I
money
would
or
guess
something
that
like
I would guess the bubble happens late tonight or first level tomorrow.
Yeah, it's 463 players remaining with 183 making the money.
Okay.
First place is
I'll confidently say
2.2 milli.
So
I'll confidently say they
almost
make
half the field is going to cash. That's left.
Yes, I'll confidently say they make the money today.
Less than that.
Yeah.
No,
No, about that. Yeah, I think they'll make the money today.
It's 463. It's like
And 180 cash.
yeah.
Yeah, so like 27% of the field needs to be eliminated, give or take. There's like 32% left, and 15% cash, right? Total runners of like 1,500. I would assume.
Yeah, it was 1440.
Yeah. So there's like 32% left, 15% cash. I think they'll make the money today. I think most structures are built to lose half the field per day. Until you get down to like the end game.
Yeah, it'll probably be last level of the night.
Yeah.
They'll probably bag making the money.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit sooner, but yeah, something like that. I'm just basing off like the Florida structures, which are like big field $3,500 events. Mm-hmm. Almost certainly you cash like first level after dinner or the one thereafter. So hopefully we have a big positive spin today. Nice update from Landy.
We got some other things working too.
Go on.
Miss Kerstetter
That's true.
is at the final tables of the ladies event.
With piles.
Not just the final table. She is chip leading this final table.
Let's fucking go, Jamie.
She has 9.3 million. Looks like they're coming back to what big blind are they coming back?
They're coming back to. They just played 100K, I think. Like 125.
Okay, so she has like 80 bigs, just
150?
smashing. Second in chips is actually 2 to her left. Sheena Okamoto has 8.6. You see, you like that?
So she also final tabled this last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sick.
There you go.
Crusher.
The Japanese are on such a rise. Like poker's so hot over there right now. Kind of love to see it, but they have a stranglehold on the final table. The two of them combined have like 70% of the chips in play.
Yep.
Third in chips, to give you an idea, is Linda Durden, who is 1/3 of Jamie's stack at 3 million.
Wow.
And then there are 3 shorties at 970K, 1.1 and 1.7. So should be a fun one. Kerstetter and Sheena will just kind of get the ravage, take turns.
They're showing this final table.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
PokerGo?
Starts streaming on PokerGo at 4 p.m. They start play at 3, so it'll be an hour delay to begin with. But
I guess Jamie should be grateful. Apparently, she took a spill at the featured table, and
Oh no.
nobody caught it. And so
she tweeted that she tripped, fell face
Felt
first,
so bad
showed
for
up,
her.
and then busted someone.
How? Howie.
Well worth it.
Oh, that's right. She came up one short of a bracelet last year, didn't she?
Yeah,
2 years ago.
Her
2
and
years
Corey.
ago.
Yeah, the tag team, they lost to Espen and Pads
It's like, God.
prior to Espen's bracelet run. Man, how sick is that? Espen won 2 bracelets that summer. I don't even think he was sniffing player of the year.
Well, no. I mean, those are probably.
Might have been his only 2 cashes.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
I don't think you get much for tag team either.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, but he picked another good one to do, right?
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean-
you like to position that with the main event if possible.
or just the main event.
Or just the main
That's
event,
true.
yeah.
A lot of heroes were left in the final 20 of the ladies event. This was going to be a real sweat down the stretch. Nadia Magnus got 19th. Cherish Andrews got 16th. My former student, Juliet Hegedus, otherwise known as Poker Queen. Is that what it is?
Poker Queen?
I think.
Oh, that's got to be
No.
taken already.
Oh,
Queen of
man.
the Felt,
Queen of the
maybe?
Felt.
Queen of the Felt. Yeah,
yes.
that's it. She got 12th. Marley got 11th. And as you saw, Jamie Kerstetter just mashing it, looking to play for
Let's go.
171,000.
Let's
Sick.
go.
Let's go,
Love to see it.
Jamie.
And Jen Shahadi and Katie Stone both made day 3.
Yeah, they both finished in the 30s somewhere, like 33 to
So,
35th,
yeah, that was
something
a
like that.
pretty heavy top few.
It's nice to see like notables specifically make runs. Not that you don't want more people to become notable, I guess, but specifically like events like this, it's easier to showcase whenever somebody like Jamie is chip leading. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like it's not an unknown. It doesn't just get scrolled by whenever you're looking at social media. It's like, oh shit, this is a big deal.
Right.
Like I would pay attention to any final table that she's at. Specifically, the fact that the ladies one shines an extra light on it. I think that's great. But yeah, I mean, hopefully she closes this one out. I'm rooting for her. She's had so many close calls over the last like 2 years. It'd be nice. Although, man, one more person in my group that will have a bracelet before me.
Just push you a little, further up the best player with no bracelet list, right?
I think I'm only on that list within my group of friends at this point. Like, I'm so bad at MTTs. I can't possibly be in the conversation. There has to be like some young 23-year-old out there who's on the best without, like Bowie is one of the best without a bracelet at this point. He's like 26 and been playing poker for 3 years. I'm not on the list anymore. I'm just a guy without a bracelet who's been around for quite some time.
Guy without bracelet.
Yeah. Another girl without bracelet. Pipshire.
Oh, Pipolinski.
Somebody does have a bracelet, though. Actually, his second one. Tony Dunst
This
yesterday.
is his third one.
Third. My apologies. All online? I think they're all online.
Are they?
I think so.
I think he's got a WPT title that's live, right?
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not going to have an online one, that's for sure. We don't have access to global. But, yeah, so this is his third bracelet. My apologies. And
I wonder if he's wearing a tie when he won.
Yeah, I would go ahead and bet he wasn't.
That's funny.
Laying in bed with the tie on.
Imagine he just has like silk pajamas with,
Exactly.
a suit jacket and a tie.
Tony, send us a picture.
Honestly, this summer is like the reemergence of like my generation doing well. You got Dunst out here smashing it. Osmus, Seiver, they're in the dead heat for the player of the year.
Seiver, dude.
He's smashing.
Kid Poker takes one down.
Yeah, he's like fringe my generation / older guard, I guess. But like, yeah, he's back now. Who else from the old guard, I guess?
I mean, the old guard just showed up. Fucking
Shulman got another one.
Shulman,
Johnny
Negreanu.
World.
Johnny World got another one.
Negreanu, fucking.
But Johnny World is my generation.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
yours.
Yeah, I consider him and Daniel like
Ivy.
same. Yeah, Ivy gets another one.
Like-
Same with Ivy. Like I think those three like kind of make up the remnants of the old guard now that like Doyle has passed and there isn't really too much to cling to from the Puggy Pearson days. I think that generation's kind of
That
passed us
generation
by.
is gone. Yeah.
Well, Mattisau might fit in there like in his head. I think he's like right on par with somebody who's 72. A lot of bracelets doled out over this weekend, so we are going to give shout outs to all of them. First and foremost, the winner of the 3K No Limit. I want to shout out Noel Rodriguez, who got second in this one. He also got second in the 25K to Nick Schulman.
He's a goat,
been
man.
making a lot of deep runs. Congratulations to him. But Paolo Boy from Italy won $676,000 and the bracelet for the 3K No Limit Hold'em event. Not to be outdone by his fellow Italian friend, Dario Sammartino, wins his first bracelet in the 2500 mixed stud 8 Omaha 8 for $222,000.
That is a mouthful. Man.
Honestly didn't even know he played mixed games.
Yeah, he plays them all.
Maybe I kind of knew
You
that.
had to know that.
Maybe he doesn't.
No,
Maybe
he
he
does.
doesn't.
He does.
Actually, maybe
Jen
he doesn't.
Harmon won her Deuce to 7 bracelet after a 15-minute lecture from Letterer on how to play Deuce to 7. So
I was so close to doing the same thing.
That stuff was so doable back then.
It's still doable.
I don't know about
Get
that.
in the
man.
get in the game.
you just have to have the right poker skills, right? And if you can apply basic poker principles and do something more than just like read off a starting hand chart, you have outs.
Yeah, I do think that having a good comprehension for just like how the game itself moves will put you in a spot, and then just knowing how to play tournaments, I guess,
I think
is really good.
I think one of the greatest accomplishments one could ever have would be to get you playing mixed tournaments.
No, I'm not built. I'm not built for it, man. I'm not built. Like, I'm not one for nicknames. Like, I've just been Berkey my entire life, and I actually hate the phrase that Ingram coined, but it really does apply. Like, I'm a big bet guy. Okay, like I need to be all in. I just need to be. So maybe you can get me in the No Limit Deuce.
All right, there
Maybe.
we go. There we go. At least that's what we're talking
But
about.
like that's it.
But that's the one you got to play.
Sure, but
That's
like
the one.
that's it. You're not gonna get me in these fucking limit split pot games. Like
All right,
I'm
fine,
not
whatever.
interested in this. you
Whatever,
know?
that's fine.
Unless it's double board bomb pot and I can actually be all in.
We'll get you into Deuce to 7. And
Okay.
we'll start that.
That'll
One of
be
these
my
days, you'll
introduction.
draw 2 and make a wheel, and that'll be all.
That'll be
she
it.
wrote. It's like, okay, boys, we're changing the game in Bobby's room.
Yeah, that's true. Me getting lucky would be far better than somebody else getting lucky against me, because I already have a skewed vision of what this stuff is.
Change that vision though.
Shout out to Hector Barry. He wins the $600 Poker News Deep Stack Championship. This is your 5,100 runners. I mean, where do you guys get the time and the money? I just don't understand. But hey, love to see it. D-Fish actually got 5th in that one. Shout out to him. On the fucking grind. 282,000 up top for Hector. It looks like this was his first bracelet, so congratulations to him. What else do we have here? 1,500 No Limit Deuce to 7 low ball draw 7-handed event. David Funkhauser takes this one down. Also first bracelet, 123,453 entries.
That could have been you, Matt.
How do they find 453 people to play fucking Deuce to 7?
It's such a good game, man.
Is this single draw, I assume?
Single draw, no limit. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
I would
what
have
you
fun
want.
with this. I would
You
never
have a blast.
Yeah, but just because like every time I had a bunch of deuces or sevens in my hand, I would be all in.
And that's fucking part of the game.
I would just be like, oh look, trip deuces. I snow. I'm all in. And somebody would be like, I have a pat 10. Call.
I mean, if they want to call,
Okay. I'm kidding. Draw 3.
The problem with snowing is that unlike Hold'em, like let's say that you just lose your mind with 7 deuce pre, you can actually flop something.
Right.
If you decide to just kind of go to the wall.
Oh, we're just always on the river.
Oh,
It's just basically we're always on the river whenever you're snowing. And it's like, all right, well, I'm going to pretend that I have it and you're going to draw some amount.
and I'm not. Yeah.
So some of the time you're going to miss and I'm just going to win that way. And every time that you don't miss, buckle up, baby. It's all of it. Godspeed.
you're gonna have so much fun.
I don't think
You're
I'm
gonna
built for
have
this.
so much fun.
So need to be in that next year. man.
It's true.
There's
You
probably-
know, next
is there a
year
deuce to
you're in.
7? Is there a deuce to 7 stem? Is there any more deuce to 7 no limit still on the
I
board?
don't think so.
Probably
Pretty sure.
limit.
I'm pretty sure that the 10K was the last one.
I'm also pretty sure that this was oh no, it says no
It
limit.
says no limit.
This is the one Conrad final table.
Yeah.
God
Well, I got
bless you.
fucking 9th.
Yeah, but still. It's an unofficial final table.
I got 9th after. Well, I mean, I got.
No, that's true. It is a 7-hand event. You're right. You don't get the credit.
I don't get the credit, man. I don't take it. I
Yeah.
only have 2 bracelet final tables.
Okay.
And they're
Yeah.
both sad events.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. Maybe I find my way into this next year, but I'll take the under on 45 minutes.
No, I
If
think
I last over 45 minutes, like,
you'll rebuy. You'll just be in there for max. It's too much fun.
Well, first you have to get dealt something like deuces full of 7s to pull that stunt. You know.
Yeah,
So-
that is very true.
yeah.
You're gonna have a fucking blast with it. We're gonna play some over the next year. We'll figure it out. We'll have some fun.
Okay. I mean, I'm not too interested in this, but
It could
you know,
happen.
It could happen, technically speaking. More bracelet winners. Many, many, many more. Shout out to Mark Checkwitz. I think he's like Cookie Monster or something
He
like
is
that.
the Cookie Monster.
Online. He won the 5K Senior High Rollers event for $573K. Big shout out to Angela Jordanson, who chip led this for like 3 days. She ended up getting 9th place for $43K. And I believe Salzburg actually ran deep in this. He's really finding his niche.
He's fucking killing it in
These post 50 prelims is really Salzburg's lane, which
Honestly,
makes a lot of sense because when I posted the Queen's hand that I got in versus Aces, he was the biggest one in the comments going, what'd you expect him to have? He put in money after the flop. Like, oh yeah, I forgot you're 50. Nobody bluffs.
I mean, honestly, the greatest thing that comes out of it is all his fucking tweets. They're
Yeah.
just hilarious.
Yeah.
It's great work.
It's good to have him back. We've
Yeah,
missed Salzburg.
It's true.
Took a little bit of a hiatus there for a couple years, but I'm happy to see him back and rounding again, if you will.
Love to see it.
No longer driving the truck. Thank God. All right, who else we got? We got the PLO 10K championship. This one got taken down by the title is misleading. Okay. God bless it. Ellie, I apologize in advance. Nakashi? We'll go with that.
That sounds good.
We'll go with that.
Landon's not here to say no.
Exactly.
No.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. He won $1.32 million, beating Joshua Atkinson heads up. Big shout out to Josh, friend of the pod. This was a big event. Always is a big event. Everybody talks about how soft this event is. I just don't get it. I don't understand how
10K PLO?
a 10K PLO championship event could ever be considered soft.
How?
People want to gamble.
You know, I think what happened was like 3 or 4 years ago, Calda won this event. And from that day forward, everybody was just like, I can beat this. I can beat the game. You know, I'm fucking in. If Big Arms Calda is going to come out here and just ship it, then like, so could I.
Sure.
You know, it's kind of like the way you see Deuce to 7.
I mean, that's the way I see poker in general.
Okay, well, I think we're starting to understand how we got to where we got.
Well, I mean, whatever.
The 2,500 no limit freeze out was sorry, this was a re-entry. It was taken down by Colin Robinson. He wins his very first bracelet.
He's the GOAT, man. He got second in the Millie Maker last year. I played a lot with him. Listen, I played a lot with him in fucking
Second
Florida.
in the Millie Maker?
Like I whatever. Any deep run I had in Florida, whether it was like the 1K side turbo, whatever it is, he's right next to me. And we're always just chatting. He's the fucking GOAT, man. This kid's really fucking good.
Sharp looking beard, too.
Yeah, very clean. $667,000. You know, this is way up from years past. My very first WSOP final table was this event in the freeze out version.
Okay.
It was a 2500 freeze out. I ended up getting 6th, and this is the one where Hit the Hole was at the final table with me. And
Mitty?
Yeah, and the shoe bombs were taking, like, it was our rail versus his rail.
Yeah.
We were like 50 deep combined, and everybody was blacked out drunk at 2 a.m.
Yep.
And it was just soccer chants versus Americans screaming. Literally could not hear the action. It was the greatest environment I've ever been in my life.
That sounds great.
I think Mormon or somebody along the British rail got kicked out for doing the very first shoe bomb. It was unbelievable. Every single pot was hit the hole, hit the hole, hit the hole. While like 10 blacked out drunk white guys were standing behind me screaming, "For America!" It was incredible.
Mitty was on a rail this weekend himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his boy Ben Collins shipped the Salute to Warriors. He's actually a...
I had this set up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but it's fine. Go
All
ahead.
right, fine. But, you know...
Finish your shtick.
You know, our boy Ben Collins, he ships the Salute to Warriors. Shout out to him. How much was it?
It was $207,000.
Yes, and he's like a avid watcher of the podcast, so holla. Let's go. Let's
love to see
fucking
it.
go. Love to see it.
Congrats, Ben. That's awesome.
Congrats,
Big
man.
congratulations to Ben Collins. It seems like this is his first bracelet as well. Love to see that we have a British following. Thank God.
We do.
We need it.
They love us.
Trust me, we need it. We need the support of the Brits.
And you know what? They can catch y'all at basically their dinner time back home.
Kinda
right?
nice.
You know, they can just like sit there and eat their chips and mushy peas and you know,
I'm not gonna stand for this, Lee. I very much have a British palate. Okay, I'm over here with boiled meat and potatoes. Like I see you guys. I see you guys eating for function, not for fashion. You know, and I'm with it. Like,
do you eat mushy peas?
I love peas.
Mushy peas,
whether they're mushy or not, what's the difference? It all ends up the same in your stomach.
If they've been blended up like refried beans,
I would
prefer not to have them that way.
Honestly, I would like
However,
it.
if you put enough butter and salt on them, I'll eat them any fucking way you got them.
Any port in a storm.
Yeah, you know, like, look, I'm sure I ate them as a baby. I'm sure I can eat them now.
There we go.
Okay.
You'll eat them as an old man.
Right, yeah.
It seems
take
like
my boiled chicken in them and just move right along with my life.
A couple of his friends been in my DMs. It seems like they're having wagers whether he's going to go back to work or not.
No. Can assure you that. Buddy, if
What
you
are you
need,
gonna do, Ben? Let
I'll
us
tell you
know.
what, buddy. If you need a job, you could be our timestamp guy.
Yeah, timestamp bro job is open.
That's true. Timestamp bro job is open. You're now a bracelet winner. We can carry you right into the next one.
How much
until you're ready to quit?
Win?
He got like, I thought it was like 300,
wait,
right?
no, timestamp bro?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, timestamp bro is
No,
one
Ben
of,
Collins.
Oh,
200.
220 something, I think.
And I don't think he
Dude,
pays
I would
taxes on
still
that.
work.
No,
207,000.
Brits don't pay taxes.
Of course you would still work. You're sicko, man.
Yeah, you are.
You're so rich.
Stop.
You
I mean, I don't
like
want
working.
I don't want to get in your head
I do
too
enjoy
much.
working. I'll be quite honest.
I
But
enjoy
yeah,
it, too.
I think in order for me to stop working, like no more work.
You would have to figure out something else to do with your time.
Well,
it's not
first
about
off-
money.
Yeah, no. First off,
I mean, I honestly could live like a poor person for the rest of my life with $1 million. I could stretch that out.
Well,
Yeah, but you don't
I
know
would
what you
find a
want
way
to
to
do
make
with
that
that
work.
time.
you want to laugh? He
Oh.
wouldn't live here. If he had $1 million, he would just move to Thailand and
that
just
might be
figure
true.
out life.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you wouldn't live like a poor person. Like that $1 million would stretch for.
But
2
you know,
decades.
some of us just get comfortable working for the man. I mean, I don't have to work for the man anymore, and I actually went back and went to work for Poker.org.
Yeah, but you're kind of like your own guy there.
Yeah.
You know, you're Lee Jones. You come with a certain.
I'm just like a guy that works for the man.
But like, who tells you no?
My boss, Eric Holland.
I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
Ben's in the chat. He said no taxes need to be paid. Confirmed. And yes, he will continue working.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
Boy.
Another IRL grinder, man.
Yeah,
I
well-
have deep respect for those people.
God bless. I hope you win another bracelet before you leave, so you reconsider that position. I have to tell you, the freedom of not having a job is just worth anything. Like, it's so nice.
That's how you're cut. You know, my dad worked for the U.S. Navy for like 40 odd years, and towards the end of his career, he would do the calculation to figure out how much he would get paid by the Navy and how much his pension was. And one year he said to me, you know, Lee, I'm making $7,000 a year to work for the Navy. And he said, I just have to make sure I'm not paying the Navy for the privilege of working.
That's insane. I mean, God bless.
I thought that was insane too.
Yeah.
But that, I mean,
God bless. I mean, look, we need it. You know.
I mean, isn't that the Pittsburgh ethos? You know, like you get up, you get your lunch pail, and you go to work. Right?
Of course, and like, trust me, I have that mindset in so many capacities in life that other people would probably look at and just be like, "You're dumb. Like, do something better with your time."
Like the gym,
the way I eat, the way I like. Yeah,
like you don't spend time eating. That's one thing.
Like the rigidity in the way that I live my life and what I believe is fostering a better version of myself. Like, I definitely take that let's do this day in and day out type of mentality to it. But yeah, I see fruit to that labor in my eyes anyway, right? I just don't see it whenever you're pounding the pavement, and that's not to say there's anything wrong with it. Like, society needs it. And this is a wild tangent that we're probably not going to get too deep into today, but I was actually having this discussion with, unfortunately, the person that I stacked Queens versus Ace King yesterday, who's a professor at Harvard. And we were discussing like the effects or the expected effects of AI. And what I was kind of saying that he somewhat agreed with was the first thing that you're going to see go are the people who don't have a lot of intelligence to leverage for money in exchange for money, right? So the physical workers. And we've already seen this prior to AI, like just machinery alone and robotics has kind of started to replace that. And the issue is that, like, you know, half of the world is, according to the bell curve, sub 100 IQ. And they're going to need to be making money somehow. They're going to need to find employment. And the challenge is when there's no more trucks to drive, when there's no more pavement to pound, when there's no more bricks to lay, it's difficult to figure out, like, how we value this subsection of society. And, you know, I think that it's just a foregone conclusion that the rest of the world is going to have to uplift this other half of society. And we're going to have to figure out a different version of economics and currency and all this other stuff. Or it just turns into utter chaos and this is the end of man, you know?
I would like to think that those people have other things to bring to the table.
I'm positive they do.
That and now relieved from doing like really meaningful work. They can now take whatever skills and talents they have and apply them in ways that benefit the planet.
Yeah, basically what we arrived at was that there will be a period of latency that could make or break the human race, right? Like, I think you're correct, but I also think it takes time to shift from one, like, modality into another, and that could be decades. And if suddenly you have just, like, decades of an economic gap that's so great that people are starving, people are without shelter, like whatever the case may be, it might just be something that can't be overcome, you know, not within that small time frame. And without getting outside of that time frame, maybe we just never get there. Right. You know, could be, you know, could just be a world war, like a literal one, not just you know, whatever. I don't want to get too deep in this. Yeah. This is not.
Let's go somewhere. Let's go somewhere happy.
Back to bracelet winners.
Final bracelet winner. Nikolai Fall battles his way to win his first bracelet in the 1500 7-card stud high-low 8 or better. God, they got to shorten the names. Like, can't we just get an abbreviation? SCSHIL 8 or better, maybe.
I
don't know if that's any
You know
better.
what? It's stud/8. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, thank you. I like that. 153,611. Where do these stud grinders come from?
Stud 8 is as good a game as straight stud high is a terrible game. Stud 8 is a great game.
Why is stud high so bad? Because I've heard this
because
before.
it's dry AF and it's like it just goes slow and yeah, there's nothing to it. But Stud 8 is a very interesting game because you're trying to figure out, does he have a low? Does he not?
Right.
You know,
Right.
and also you can print because people get
quartered.
Well, no, you can print because people you don't get quartered in stud 8 because everybody's got their individual cards.
Oh, right.
But
right.
the reason is that people go high and they get like rolled up 9s or whatever, and they just want to go to the river with it. Well, if you have a low, you're essentially free rolling the pot,
Right.
and so you can just sit there and like, okay, you have rolled up 9s. I don't care. Like I've got the low, and oh, look at that! I backed into a straight. Isn't that funny?
Look at that! I'll be playing the stud 8 next year.
It's like Chicago. You know, you got the ace of spades in the hole. You just get to.
I always
really
thought that was
juice
like
the pot.
even when I first started playing, I thought that was the stupidest game in the world for that very reason. That whoever had the ace of spades in the hole was free rolling the entire pot.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun, right? Because like you can also bluff the ace of spades, and then it might come out on 7th Street or 6th Street rather somewhere. Like it just pops up, and you've been juicing the pot the whole time with like, you know, maybe a 4 draw to a flush or whatever with like the queen of spades or something like that. So it's high spade in the hole gets half the pot.
High spade.
It's stud high.
Okay.
It's stud high with high spade in the hole gets half the pot.
Gotcha. That's fun.
But yeah, I mean there are like
Just
some
like
strategy caveats to it.
It's just like doing a run out. Like,
No.
Well, I mean, it's high spade in the hole. Like, wait, do you have to still be in the hand later?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you're dealt the ace of spades, like you're just juicing the pot the whole time, and
Gotcha.
it'll become like there's some subtleties to it. Like you don't want to, you can't just make it obvious, right? But like if you have like 2, 5, 7 king, all rainbow or all badoogie showing, and you're just constantly taking the betting lead, obviously you have the ace of spades. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean there are some like fun things, but maybe I am a mixed game player. You know?
See,
But
here we
listen,
go. There we go.
Just
man.
need to play some.
I mean, this is my start.
It's fun, man.
I used to refuse Hold'em in our home game.
used to refuse Hold'em.
Yeah. I mean, when we first started playing as teenagers, Hold'em was not, it was like pre-rounders.
Okay.
Like 96 was the first time I think we started playing home games. 98 is when rounders came out. That's when we started introducing Hold'em.
Okay.
And we played bomb pots as we know them today.
Yeah.
Back then, we just anteed and went right to the flop.
I got you.
Because you didn't know any better.
We knew nothing.
Okay. Fair enough.
But
Look at
yeah.
you prefigured bomb pots. That's so cool.
Yeah. Like, we were innovative, man. We were fucking innovative. And I didn't know shit about table stakes. I would come out of pocket when I had a good hand. Put my car keys on the table, you know. Just like the movies. People don't know. They're going to lose all this romanticism. They're going to look at it. They're going to look back at like the old poker tropes and laugh and be like, "Oh my god, what a joke! This guy put his Rolex on." Literally, when I was 15, like that's what we thought fucking poker was.
Do you know that came? It's funny you should say car keys because that came up in the TDA yesterday.
Okay.
Because apparently, some people, if you have a bounty button, and some people have taken to throwing the bounty button into the pot.
Correct, and it signifies all in.
To indicate. Now, do you think? So let me ask you: if somebody,
the WSOP rule currently is that signifies all in. They announced it during the bounty.
Do you agree with that ruling?
Not.
I do. Yeah.
I agree with it too, but I thought it was not.
I'm
pretty
99% sure they announced it.
I played the Super Turbo Bounty 1500, and I'm pretty sure the guy, actually 100% sure, the guy put in his chip, and we just told him it meant nothing.
Okay, well that could just be a poor rule. All right, here's what I know. They made an announcement for sure during the bounty event, and whether it was that the bounty chip did not signify all in or does signify all in, I don't recall.
It did not.
But at our tables, it was playing as all in. So I feel pretty confidently that they announced that it does signify all in.
That's funny.
But it also should.
Yeah.
To me, it's action.
I believe it should
It's your
be.
own personal all-in
so
button.
the general consensus at the TDA is that it is not it's not a tournament chip.
So but that's so technical.
Yeah, it's
I hate people that do this, right? Like they try to beat you with words and logistics.
I mean, it's not really just the question of the words. It's the question of, is that an opening to an angle?
It is if you don't count it as an all-in.
And I think that, and my recollection of the conversation was just that if throwing the bounty button does not mean that you're all in, then it is the door to a shitload of angles.
Yeah,
totally
you
agree.
could just throw the bounty button in and just get a full reaction from somebody because they might not know.
Right.
That
of course.
That's a ruling.
So
it's just like, You have to protect players from that.
Totally agree.
It should be an all-in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I completely agree. If it's not currently the rule, it should be the rule.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think this one's close. And I don't like these letter of the law type of things where it's like, oh, well, but technically it's not a tournament chip and it's not official, blah, blah. It's like, it's a part of the event.
I think that the general consensus, and this comes out in most things that the TDA does, and, you know, I want to make sure that we discuss the TDA in general before we go off air, but the thing that people look at is what is the best for the game, what's the best for the players, and to that, and proximate to that, what prevents angles, right?
That's I think where the discrepancy often comes is what's best for the general populace versus what can be angled. And I think the importance should be switched. I think first and foremost you take the angles away, and then you land on whatever's best and most easily implemented for the general populace.
Why
right?
do you think that?
Because like protecting from angles, protecting amateurs, especially who aren't privy to angles, is by far the greatest job the TDA has.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
I think that all poker rules should be focused on preventing angles exactly because that is the way that you make the game friendliest and most available to amateurs.
Comrade, you're probably too young for this, but do you remember when WSOP gave you an all-in button for the main event?
No, I wasn't even here.
This was a fucking disaster. This was like, I want to say, it was still during the Jack Link's beef jerky sponsorship days, so like maybe 2012, 2013.
I don't remember.
Something like that. Everybody got an all-in chip, and it was a horror show.
Like, what
because
do you mean?
like people... There was confusion whether it actually counted or not. Like there was confusion what happens if it accidentally rolls out in front of your stack. People were like getting held accountable for that chip getting moved. And it was literally just like a Milwaukee's best all-in chip. Like it was a part of branding, basically, like marketing. But it signified all in if you wanted to use it that way.
But
I think you could either use it or put it away.
Okay.
But like if you chose to use it, like it counted. And I think it was like people would joke, flip it in, and like, you know.
I mean, see, that's the thing. They have to make a ruling like, hey, if this crosses this fake line, you're all in, buddy.
You can't introduce new wrinkles to the game in something like the main event, which is so amateur field.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
and which has such huge ramifications,
correct.
Right? I mean, you just don't joke about bombs in airports, and you don't joke about all-ins in the main.
It's the same thing. You're right.
When you're right, Lee. You know, there's really no.
Man.
There's no pushing back on that one.
Triangle. The all-in triangle. I remember at one point,
but it was
just started going like this, and it was like, okay, he's going all in.
Only the dealer had that though, which they were like the first to introduce the quote-unquote all-in button, and man. There's nothing that I think has better helped police the game within the last 10 years than that all-in button.
Oh my God.
Like taking away the discrepancy that the person has to go through of whether or not somebody has taken an action or, you know, if they heard it correctly or whatever is very, very, very important.
I need to go play a PokerStars event. Now that I know.
Yeah.
Do you know, I actually had a guy rescue me at Bay 101 because I had announced I was all in, and the dealer just like, what? I don't know what's going on, but she just couldn't get across the idea that I was all in. And I was like over in the 3 or 4, and the guy who was in the 9 understood that I wanted to be all in. And he reached into her tray, pulled out the all-in button, and threw it in front of me. And I was like, thank you. And the dealer's like looking like, oh, I guess he's all in. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's get to the man of the hour before we wrap on a TDA summit discussion. Scott Seiver doing the impossible.
Dude, he's the fucking GOAT.
First to win 3 bracelets in a summer since Jeffrey Losandro back in 2009, who, if I'm not mistaken, won 3 stud events, which kind of in and of itself is impressive.
Yeah.
But Scott's won 3 different disciplines. And
Losandro did it wearing a
fedora.
No, that's right. Was it a fedora or was it
Something
a bucket cap?
No,
It was a fedora.
It was not a bucket cap. Okay. I can assure you that.
Okay.
Jeff Lissandra would not be caught dead in a bucket hat.
Okay, Guapo, get us a picture. But anyway,
Conrad.
It's funny. Every time I hear Jeffrey Lissandra, I just think of the
Anti-Gate.
the fight that he had with
Prahlad. Yeah, Anti-Gate 2010 or whatever the hell it was.
Silly.
That was so funny. No two better people to be petty over something like that than those two. The fact that they had to like go to the cameras were incredible. But yeah, Seiver did an interview afterwards where he kind of discussed what his goals were coming into this summer and how desperately he wants to win a bracelet in every single discipline. So I think we're going to cut to that.
Congratulations, Scott. You have won your 3rd bracelet at the 2024 World Series of Poker. You are the first person to do so in over a decade. Are you feeling satisfied?
I feel very satisfied right now. I can't really describe it. I'm like on cloud 9 right now. This just means so much to me, and it also is a step in a personal journey I've made for myself. I want to win 1 bracelet in every single discipline there is for the Players Championship, which is, it's a 9-game tournament. This is now my 5th of the 9, so I've now crossed the halfway point on my goal. I can't lie and say that the heads up versus Pedro was going through my head while I was playing this time, being like, oh, I really hope I win. I really hope I close it out. But this tournament is just unbelievably special. One of them, in my opinion, most prestigious of the year, and I've wanted this one for a long time.
Player of the Year race is absolutely bonkers this year. One of your final table compatriots, Jeremy Osmus, is right in there with you as well. What would it mean to you to win the Player of the Year race?
Oh, it means everything. This now puts me ahead of him. I know I had to get first to get ahead of him, which is crazy given it's 3 bracelets, but he's having truly like one of the best World Series ever, and I'm just lucky and thankful enough that I'm pushing just a little bit further.
Pretty incredible stuff. So it's such a fascinating goal to set out to accomplish. So he was referencing the PPC, which is a 9-game format, 3 big bet, 6 limit games, and he wants to cross them all off his list. And he's already more than halfway there.
The GOAT, man.
At like, what is he, 38 maybe?
Is he that young?
He's younger than, I'm pretty sure he's younger than
I want
me.
to say he's like 38 or something.
He might be 40, but I think him and Ike are like, I think they were 18 when I was 21 is what I'm getting at.
I'm pretty sure that he is not 40 yet because I think he'd be in talk for Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree.
As a first ballot. So
agreed. But yeah, if you can get his age, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think he's either 38 or
1985.
39. Yeah, 3 years younger than me, so he's 39.
He's 39, yep.
Makes sense. Pretty incredible. 7th bracelet overall, 5th of the 9 that he wants to cross off the list. He's going to be in the conversation for greatest WSOP player of all time.
Especially since he doesn't fucking try. This is his first summer, like really trying, like just playing.
In like maybe 7 years.
Yeah, like just playing mixed game, like his mixed tournaments, not playing cash, not doing any of that. He's trying. He might, you know what? This might light the fire to pass Phil.
To be considered for the Hall of Fame, you have to be
go for
40.
it.
Yeah.
How old is Osmus?
44. He's older than me, 43 or 44. He's been brought up in conversation in the past.
He's definitely in the conversation.
And I think that like he just didn't quite have the resume. The issue is not his resume overall.
It's everybody else.
It's everybody else
at the same time. Yeah.
I mean, what he's doing this year is absurd.
Yeah.
He has 6 final tables or something like that.
Oh my God.
He has like a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah. Like I was of the opinion that Rast was a first ballot guy last year. There was just no doubt in my mind. And when he won the PPC, I thought that solidified it. There was 0 questions.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate Scott's 39 right now instead of 40 because I think he would be a shoo-in.
I mean, I don't care if it happens next year. I'm pretty sure he's a shoo-in.
Yeah, but the way this works is what's most relevant now is what's going to often be who gets voted in because only one person gets in. And there's a laundry list of people from the old guard generation who are still fighting tooth and nail to get there.
I see what you're saying.
So
what
like,
if he wins a 4th?
For instance, like Lane Flack got in the year prior. Resume-wise, probably not appropriate, but he had just passed away.
Yeah.
And again, I thought he was like a complete shoo-in, where it was just no doubt in my mind that was going to be the year where they finally said, okay, like we're going to let him in.
We still only let him 1, right?
Yeah, that has to change.
I would hope so.
I think it needs to be like somewhere between 2 and 5 players and 1 to 2 operators. Like, you know, we've had this conversation already about Eastside not being in yet.
Yeah.
Completely ridiculous. Like guy changed the entire face of the landscape.
Yeah.
Does NFL and MLB have a set number on how many people they do a year?
Yes.
They do, but it's more.
Yeah,
more
I
than
feel like
one.
it's 7 or 8 or something like that.
And
6
the voting for the sports comes from like the journalism crew, right?
Yeah.
And the voting for the Hall of Fame comes from current Hall of Fame members,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And most of those, I mean, a lot of those guys are just, you know, it's just such a old boys club. It's a very different thing.
It's very difficult. I mean, to be fair, to his credit, Daniel has a lot of influence, I think, on that panel. And he's more tapped in to the guys that will be coming around to 40 now than anybody else.
Sure.
But there's still a laundry list of guys that, you know, are 10 years our senior that...
And women.
Yeah, actually, I don't believe there's a woman yet in the regular Hall of Fame. I know Maria Ho.
Oh, yeah.
Is Kathy Liebert?
Linda Johnson.
Oh, Linda Johnson. Is Kathy Liebert?
No.
She should be considered,
And
obviously.
she's definitely a consideration.
Right. And I think by the time Maria's career is over, she'll be a consideration
Absolutely.
as well. She's just kind of, again, falling, same thing as like Osmus, like falling victim to, it's not that your resume doesn't stack up.
Yeah.
It's that we have this massive backlog of people whose resumes are Hall of Fame worthy.
I think Jen Harmon's name should have been in consideration.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
For
because, I mean,
sure.
there was a time that for quite a while she was considered the best limit hold'em player in town.
I still think that she is a much stronger consideration than Mattisau, and I believe that both of them deserve to be in.
Mattisau is not in, right?
No.
Okay.
But what I'm saying
I
is
think she's much stronger than
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think her resume, especially like with cash specifically,
Exactly.
that's kind of the other thing is so much of this is measured by tournaments.
Right.
You know, like I don't know that we're going to see another cash guy ever.
Listen, she won the Deuce to 7. She won the Cadillac. She
Okay,
won
relax.
the game.
You
You know?
But yeah, like I don't know that we'll ever see another cash game player make the Hall.
Right.
Like a cash game specialist, so to speak.
So, by the way, has Scott just given up the 3K, 6K mixed in Bobby's room?
For this summer, yeah.
Wow.
And to be fair, like that game is fucking tough, man. Like I talked to Jay the other day and he's been in town. I know he's doing well and I know he loves the competition, but like, you know, they were playing 4K, 8K and it's like,
Mercia?
yeah, it's not clear to me who the spot is. And I don't know how all this works in Limit. Like maybe someone's a spot in one game and not another kind of thing.
That's how the whole mixed game things got to go.
Right.
Because people would say, "Oh, I want to play Stud 8. Oh, I want to play Omaha."
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, we'll do a round of each, and we'll figure out who's has
Right.
an edge in which game. Right?
Yeah, which I kind of appreciate that aspect of it.
I think it's because if you are truly, and I imagine Scott is probably one of these people, if you are really a master of all of them, then you're like, yeah, whatever you boys want
Right.
to play.
Sorry, guys. Harmon is in.
she's in the actual.
She's in the Hall of Fame. yeah.
Okay, this is
Oh,
where
genius?
I
Okay,
I
good.
just get confused all the time because there's the Women's Hall of Fame and then there's
Right.
the regular Hall of Fame.
No, she's-
And I know pretty
Wait.
confidently who's in the Women's Hall of Fame, but I don't really know who bleeds over into...
So I think Jen
Oh, okay.
Jen
I
and
didn't-
Linda. If Jen is in, are you sure you're looking at the real Hall of Fame? Because I had it was only Linda.
I'm looking at the Poker Hall of Fame list on Wikipedia. I mean,
Okay,
this is
then
good.
all right, then Jen Harmon's in. That's
it also
good.
looks like there was 2 people inducted that year with John Jawanda as well.
Yeah, there
So I
were,
might be looking
No,
at-
there were a few years where they did where they did two.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not sure what... I don't know all the politics around the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't know when they went from like 1 to 2 back to 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a handful of years where they...
yeah, 2019 they put Oppenheim and Moneymaker in.
Okay.
2018 Maury and Hennigan.
Okay. Yeah.
17 Devilfish and Ivy. 16 Mortensen and Brunson. Wow. So it seems like they just need...
So like there's a great example.
Why are they going backwards? We need more people, not less.
Right. Obviously.
What is going on?
Yeah, they ought to go to 3.
Oh, man.
So 2016 was Carlos Mortensen and Todd Brunson.
Yes.
That's a great example of 2 people who like wealthfully, is that a word? Who definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But had they not gotten in 2016 and we were discussing them today, they have no shot.
No outs.
And it's the same thing with like Mattisau. Like Mattisau somehow missed his window. And that's so shitty because it's like he's still playing and competing. And the idea that you expect somebody in their mid-50s to be competing at the same level they were in their 30s is kind of crazy. And sure, we will see that. I assume anyway. I assume Brian Rast is still going to be an elite poker player in his 50s. Same with Seiver. Same with Galfon. Hopefully the same with a lot of us that are like grinding cash and stuff. But it's just so different. Like we have so many tools and assets available to us now that they didn't have then. And I think that really needs to be celebrated. Like,
and there's a focus on physical and mental health now that didn't exist a generation ago.
That's very true.
And you saw those guys going downhill really hard, really fast.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I mean, I'm 66 years old, right? You know, and I mean, I'm 100% not as sharp as I was 15 years ago, but I think I'm a better poker player than I was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you might be able to beat the socks off of Lee Jones from 2009.
Yes.
But Lee Jones 2009 might have been making more money. And that's kind of like the interesting juxtapositioning here with a lot of these guys. Like Mattisau's probably better at poker now than he was 15 years ago. But like it's debatable whether he's a winning player now.
Right.
He was dominant 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how much the landscape's changed. And also why like a lot of the tail end of my generation and generations to come, especially if you're not a big tournament player, almost have no shot. Right. Because if you're still winning today, you blend in. You're just a sea of salt where we're trying to pick out the specks of pepper. You know what I mean? So you really have to do something extraordinary. Like the qualifications for people that are turning 40 now and what they've had to accomplish in their career is 10x what the generation prior to them had to accomplish. And for like Landon's generation, you're going to need to have been not just a Linus Love, but you're going to need to be a Linus Love for 20 odd years.
Right. Yes.
You know, you need that staying power. You need to demonstrate that you can win throughout the decades. You can't just like be a flash in the pan like OTB Red Baron, who I don't even know if we know his true identity, that won for like this much time and then vanished. He won't ever be in the discussion. You know, we'll remember him as one of the greats, but it'll be like folklore. Like, oh man, you remember the pre-pandemic days of OTB Red Baron dominating
Speaking of online anonymity.
Right, yeah. And yeah, like additionally now there's going to be this whole other subcategory of the Brad Owens, the Andrew Nemes of the world that like clearly have left a footprint in this community in a way that cannot be denied, but aren't going to be considered Nick Schulman-esque level of players. You know what I mean? Like they're great, they're good, but their main impact.
And that's why there needs to be multiple entries, because you look at a Nemi or an Owen and you say, as you said, I mean, a footprint is not even strong enough term. They changed the landscape of poker as we know it.
At least from the media side.
Well, but I mean, in terms of the number of humans that came to
also
poker,
true.
In terms of the growth of the game.
Also true. You could never deny Moneymaker. He has to be in the hall, right?
Exactly.
Has to be in the hall. But truthfully, outside of the main event, his resume like doesn't really stack up. But it just doesn't matter because what he did was Hall of Fame worthy, right? Like he literally was.
He binked a Triton.
Yeah, now.
But yeah, but
I'm saying it was like last week.
I'm saying it was like,
it wouldn't matter if he never won another $1 at poker.
Exactly.
Yes. Right.
Precisely.
Yes.
There was a 15-year stretch where like poker was probably on the back burner for him and he didn't give a shit. He was just riding out the Moneymaker name and that was good enough.
And
for those
everybody
reasons
knew
he
that
had
name.
Yeah, and they always will.
Yeah.
Right? Like he will just always be forever a part of No Limit Hold'em poker lore. And that makes him a Hall of Famer, I think.
Well, but I mean, the way I would look at it is, I mean, maybe this is mercenary, but it's like he brought infinite humans into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't put you in the Hall of Fame, then what does?
Right. Yeah, totally agree.
I have a small parallel tangent to
Go
that.
ahead.
I think Bobby Bonilla's agent deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, if I'm reading this correctly.
Oh yeah, it's Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. You guys have no idea. It's not Bobby Bonilla's agent. It's the Mets. The Mets deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for this. Yeah. This is a terrible. I mean, you know, whatever.
How long is it that he gets paid for?
Wait a minute. You mean his agent didn't structure this whole deal?
Probably, but it's a terrible deal for Bonilla. It's
he's getting
great.
$1 million a year for the next 16 years.
I mean,
it's 25 years total.
Yeah.
So they've currently paid him $16 million, and they still owe him an additional $12 million.
And why is this bad?
So it's 20 because the dollar. This is spread out over 25 years. Actually, more, because they didn't have to start paying till 2010. So there's still another 11 years left on the thing. So 35 years spread out over 35 years. They had to pay him $17 million or something like that. They're going to end up getting like a 25% discount on that money. As opposed to giving it to him up front.
Because of inflation.
Because of inflation, also from his side, like what he could have earned on that money.
Yeah.
You know, year over year.
I mean, what do you think about Ohtani's contract then?
Well, it's different. Ohtani's like smart because he fades taxes while he's in America.
Yeah.
And he's just going to go to Japan or somewhere, some tax sheltered country, get the whole lump sum at the end.
Yep.
Or get the installed payments at the end,
it's
all
so
tax
fucking
free.
genius because he has to move like within 5 years or something like that after his career.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is he's just not going to pay 10% to California.
Yeah.
So it's like he just fades all of that. And these are always super friendly for the team. They're not, their capital's not tied up. It's incredibly important to them.
That's why the fucking Dodgers are absolutely loaded.
Yeah, and you know, we meme on the Bobby Bonilla Day because it's been every, whatever today's, July 1st, for the last 14 years, and it's 24 years in the making or whatever. But there are a lot of teams that do this. Griffey just received his last payment from the Reds, like $3.3 million today, and that's been going on for better part of 10 years. Manny Ramirez is still getting paid by the Red Sox. I mean, you know, like it's just smart for the teams to be able to defer all of this capital down the line.
Could you get by on $1 million a year? Like even in 2024?
He'll get by on $1 million lifetime.
Give me 20 grand, I'll make it happen.
That's not fair though, because like you have to look at it from the standpoint of like what your worth was, and his worth at the time was $16 million over 4 years.
Right.
So it's like he could have easily ballooned that into $100 million by now.
Yeah.
But instead he's taking 1.1 million installments.
Depending on how he spends money, that might be a better life EV.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain people who are really bad with
if you
money.
had a gambling issue, like a sports betting issue.
You mean Allen Iverson?
Although I will say that people with annuities tend to be the ones that are like the biggest punters whenever it comes to like gambling and stuff like that, because they just know they have that monthly influx.
I mean, Allen Iverson's contract was for Reebok, which is like he gets $40 million when he turns 40, I think it was, or 45 or something like that. Like he wasn't allowed to touch the money.
At least that's like
45.
a trust, though. You know,
like
that's a big lump sum that you can do something with. Anyway, back to the Seiver conversation. I don't want to make light of what he's done. This is incredibly impressive. We still have 2.5 weeks left, so there's still 20 some odd events
with 6 or 7 mixed ones too.
I think he jumped right into the 10K stud.
Yeah.
From I mean, it's just so incredible to watch this play out. This is the World Series that like I remember. And I wish that there was more public conversation about like whatever side bets he got down, bracelet bets, things of that nature. I wish there was like a little bit more coverage of following him around event to event. You know, we've seen Deeb do the multi-table thing where he drops a stack in the Colossus and he's also deep in like the 10K PLO or whatever. And it's just such an impressive display to watch play out. And you know, we have so many storylines. It's so tough because our attention spans are so short. Like I know TJ's covering the Becker Landon bet, and he's doing a fantastic job. Like he's there, he's in the streets, he's in the venues, he's writing the updates and stuff like that. They just don't go viral the same way that like video clips do, and even the way that it did 10 years ago when that was our only way of following what was taking place at the World Series. And I feel like it's kind of unfortunate. I feel like everybody at home kind of misses out on what a big deal this actually is for the industry as a whole.
So while you're mentioning TJ, can I give a shout out to my employer?
Of course.
So Poker.org, we have a lounge at the World Series of Poker, and I just saw it this morning. It's great. If you know where Jack Binion's Steakhouse is at the Horseshoe,
can't miss it.
You go, just go stand, look at Jack Binion's Steakhouse, and then at 1:00 you will see the entrance to our lounge. We've got board games, we've got water, we've got coffee, we've got snacks. There's a really cool booth set up. So if you've just had it with the whole chaos scene there, but the cool thing is that when you're there, you can join the org. And Guapo, I think, if you can put the QR code, people may be able to actually even scan it off of their off the screen. But basically, we've got a last longer running. If you're in the main, it's a free roll. And if you last longer than anybody else who has signed up for the last longer, you get a $600 restaurant gift card anywhere you want to.
Nice.
Love to see it.
And we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up at Poker.org. We're kind of shooting the lights out recently. I mean, it's hard to, like, Poker News has been embedded for a long time, but we're getting some big numbers. We're growing. We've added comments to the website, so you can now, like, when you see one of our articles, you can get your comments in there, and we're setting up a discussion platform that I would love to see become essentially a civil alternative to Poker Twitter.
Not gonna happen.
Well,
I appreciate the attempt.
okay, and it's called Ask the Org, and I mean, it's going to work unless it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But it is an honest attempt to have people, and we're going to moderate it. Like, we're going to basically, I mean, try to go back maybe to the old 2+2 days before it all completely tanked.
Yeah.
And have a place where people can come and talk about interesting issues that are going on in the poker world without the ad hominem attacks and stuff.
Yeah, it's really difficult. The days of forums have kind of gone by the wayside just simply due to the maturation process of the internet. Like, we have Discord chats now, we have Discord communities. Even those, by comparison to the old 2+2 days, are just dead. But the point is like, the attention is just being pulled in so many different directions, and Twitter seems to be the one central space where people will go and shout into the void. And unfortunately, much like its counterpart Reddit, I guess if we're talking forum-wise, there isn't that much moderation, and nobody's really doing a whole lot to censor the bad shit. So it tends to go viral. The algorithm tends to pick it up more often, and we just see a lot of it. I hope that changes. I hope that Poker.org is successful. I hope that more people do want to join into the conversation there. I don't know what incentivizes it, to be quite honest. I've never been a big forum guy. I am a huge Twitter guy, though. And I don't know really. I think it's.
Do you feel that
come up in the forums?
Are you shouting into the void?
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, didn't you come up in the forums, Donkey Fish?
I wrote articles for them, but you have to understand that they were tiny. Like a couple hundred people at most.
Gotcha.
And it was more like a think group than anything else. And 2+2, I'd never made a post. Like, just my account's been active since like 2005. And I think I have like 6 posts of all time. Just wasn't a participant. Didn't feel like a very safe place.
Okay.
As opposed to Twitter.
Well, Twitter's I would never have spoke the way that I speak now prior to having confidence in my place, I guess. Like, I know what my voice is. I know the weight that it carries, and I know whatever responsibilities come along with that. I also know, how I'm perceived by others and how polarizing of a figure I can be, and that I'm just going to be disliked by a lot of people for being outspoken. So I kind of just get to be my most human self on Twitter, and it's a take it or leave it type of thing. I try to be as respectful as possible, but I'm also very curt and to the point. And I'm pretty unapologetic about that, which, maybe that's something that I can work on. It's very much the Northeastern in me, where it's, we'll open doors for you. We'll shake hands every time we see you. We'll ask you how the family's doing. But like, if you say something stupid, nobody gives you the smile and nod and the fluff to make you feel better about it. It's just kind of like,
world right there.
You West Coasters are fucking soft,
that's my
man.
world right there.
That is no joke.
We're marshmallows. It's true.
The West Coast is it's different, and I don't fit in here. And I recognize an East Coaster, like, they stick out like a sore thumb here. And I use this phrase a lot, but like, I really genuinely believe it's true that the East Coast Northeast is
rude.
No, we just
That's
been through
one
some
word.
shit.
They're kind but not nice, where I feel that the West Coast is nice but not kind. And what I mean by that is that the curt nature of the East Coast, the bluntness, even the derogatory language in some regards that's sometimes meant jestfully, it's all very to the point, but it comes from a very kind place, right? We're very neighborly. We look out for one another. We're always interested in everybody doing well. We just we don't mince words. you know, and it comes off very harsh and aggressive. Where the West Coast, I feel like nobody gives a shit about one another. No one's holding doors. Like nobody's looking out for one another. You don't know your neighbors out here. General courtesies don't really seem to extend from person to person. But man, they do it all with a smile on their face. You know, they greet you when you walk in a room pleasantly, and then they forget your name the second that you walk away.
I think Vegas is a special place, though. Because Vegas is like...
It's more of a melting pot of the two.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas is special.
Maybe I'm speaking a little bit more about California, but...
everybody just comes here for something.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's very transient for sure.
Yeah,
Vegas, I think is one of one. I don't think you can.
I think that's true, and I think in my head I'm framing more of like what the California is, where it's like, you know, they say a nice thing to your face with a smile and with while they're smiling, and then they turn around and talk shit.
Dude,
behind
I've
your
lived
back.
in California for 25 years, and I don't think. I mean, I don't think that's. But I mean, I am one of, you know, in billion Californians.
Yeah,
whatever. It's more LA.
But it also could just be like specifically poker too.
Yeah.
But speaking of being nice and kind, I do want to touch on TDA very quickly because
let's get into
we've
it.
had some excitement about the TDA, and what I really want to express here is I spent both days at the TDA, and we had some really interesting people speaking, including Maury Escondati and Katie Stone and Victoria Lifshitz, who is the first time I've met her, and boy, she's brilliant. She is the nuts.
Yeah.
But what I want people to understand is that there's like 100 people in that room, 150 people in the room that are not getting paid a penny to be there.
Yeah.
And they're having these discussions about poker rules and tournament rules solely for the good of the players and the game. And that's something that, you know, that I'm not sure the players really see. But for instance, before the show, we were talking about the big blind ante thing.
Yeah.
And having a discussion where it was like, okay, like Matt Savage said, I don't think it's the way to do it, but I'm going to switch to doing big blind first. And that way everybody can, you know, when they get to a tournament, wherever they go, they're going to have a consistent experience, right? Yeah. And they are doing a huge service for tournament players everywhere.
Yeah, quite honestly.
And I just wish there was a cash game equivalent.
Consistency is most important there, honestly.
Exactly.
Whatever the ruling is, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be consistent.
Right.
I think we all agree with that, but I also very much am in the camp of choosing the player-friendly option, which is what they ultimately settled on, is best for everybody involved. But I do, beyond my own opinion there, I do agree that consistency is most important, not just from the standpoint of running things smoothly, but also from the strategy standpoint. Like, people who are spending a lot of time and effort and energy getting good at MTTs need to know what happens whenever they have one big blind left and they're about to take the big.
Right.
Because it greatly changes strategies prior to that. Like, leave 2 chips behind instead of 1, or leave no chips behind instead of 1, that type of stuff. Small little nuanced things that maybe people don't think about or give a shit about are actually quite important to bottom line. And at the end of the day, it is a game that is competitive, or we're playing for money, and ultimately we just want to be on a level playing field where we can do whatever work it is that we individually seem to be or deem to be important. So I think that this is a great thing to come out of this year's TDA.
Yeah, I love to see it.
I spoke in depth with Matt. I couldn't be there, obviously, and I know that the TDA only reaches so far. They can't really have that much oversight over all of poker. But
you would be surprised at how ubiquitous the TDA rules are.
That was what I was going to say, is that I do think that they influence a lot, right? Whether they actually can control what happens in a cash game or not, people will defer often to what's standardized in TDA rules. So I think it's really important to get some certain things off. And we'll get more in depth into this throughout the course of the week as this like kind of unfolds more. But there's been about a half dozen cheating rings over the last 18 months or so that have been caught in high stakes cash games, both public and private, all of which they're using a micro pin camera in some inanimate object. Yeah. And the issue is that people want to lean hard, they want to overreact and kind of fall into the FUD of, well, technology's taking over and we need to ban it. We need to ban phones, we need to ban headphones, we need to ban anything that's technological at the table. And it's like, yeah, that's a start, but, you know, You need to ban card protectors too. You need to ban car keys. You need to ban literally anything that's on the table, because these things can be put into just about anything. We've found them in rings and jewelry. We found them in AirPod cases. We found them in fake phones, watches. Like, you name it, if it can go on the felt, a camera can be put into it, and they're tiny. And what ends up happening is they catch they use a slow-mo camera that catches the dealer's pitch. And they know
the
precisely.
dealers need to switch to the European slide.
That was exactly what I said
100%.
to Matt. That was literally what I said to Matt. I go, what is the likelihood that you can put some pressure on tournament houses and dealers alike to start to standardize the European pitch? And he said
it's not a pitch, it's a slide.
Right, yeah, slide, whatever. And he basically said, like, that protocol is just like way too big to try to execute or implement worldwide. And it's just like, well, it has to be easier than trying to ban everything.
Right.
It has to be easier than trying to get people to play naked. You know, and like, we ended it with me saying, like, yeah, maybe this is something that needs to be pitched to gaming rather than to TDA, because maybe they have more oversight and power when it comes to controlling the rooms,
right,
and just mandating, like, this is the new dealer protocol. And he goes, could you imagine trying to switch 1,000 dealers of the WSOP to this style of pitch? They can barely deal as it is. I go, yeah, I get it, but, like, what's the alternative?
And you know, it's interesting, Matt, because we talk about stuff like that, and, you know, 35, 40 years ago, you know, people said, well, what if we didn't have smoking in poker rooms?
Right.
And everybody said, oh, don't be ridiculous. You know,
we'll lose all the recreation.
Yeah,
everybody's so slow to change. Big blind ante, same thing.
The big blind ante is a perfect example, and now it's like nobody remembers. A decade from now, nobody will remember.
You're in the massive minority if you still want to individually ante.
Exactly.
You know?
And if you've never seen a European dealer do the card sliding, it's a thing of beauty.
And they also have devices that help, right? They have like a blackjack shoe that they can literally just pull from, so they don't even have to hold the deck necessarily. Like, there are ways to ease into this process.
Go to the EPT and play there.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. And, like, I don't even care about speed. If they need to do it slow to begin with, do it slow. I care about protecting the sanctity of a fair gaming environment where
Preach it, Berkey.
Where we can just, like, gamble and do, like, I'm very confident I got cheated earlier this summer.
You told us before
Really?
a podcast. Listen, he literally told us before
in
a
Bobby's room.
With explanation,
just very confident
that he got cheated, and that he's just
And it's like one of those things where it's like there's no recourse even once you find out to be true. All we can do is ban the guys, and that ends up happening. You know, those steps are taken, but it doesn't foil these rings, right? And, like, this is again, like, I'll get more into it once I can confirm that I can speak publicly about, like, all the different ones that have been found out over the last 18 months. But this dates all the way back to the last PCA. And, you know, it's the easiest thing of all the mechanisms, you know, like, people are thinking it's so sophisticated, like, oh, RTA and all of a sudden it's like, no, what if you just knew the cards? Because you, like, looking back on
just have a camera.
Yeah, like, looking back on the Robbie scandal at Hustler, it makes so much sense that this could have been the way. We're trying to figure out how they got tapped into the RFID or whatever. It's like, what if fucking Rip had a ring on?
It could be a lot more crude than some sophisticated
and, like, wanding people and taking their phones and all that other stuff doesn't fucking matter if they have a micro earpiece in and somebody has a camera on their ring. It's like, how much sense would it make if Rip was like had a micro earpiece in and a camera on his ring or something like that, picks up all the hole cards and then is just signaling to Robbie, like, yes or no. Like, best hand, not best hand kind of thing, right? Because, like, when we look at the Jack 4 situation, what nobody can make sense of is, if you know the equities, why would you run it here? It's like, maybe they didn't know the equities. Maybe it was just you have the best hand, and that got interpreted as like, oh, okay, well, then I'm just going to play it like I have the fucking nuts, rather than just, like, getting to the river and then making a move or calling down with Jack high, which would be equally egregious. But at least you could hide it that way.
Right.
I'm speculating, obviously. I'm not trying to drudge up years of.
Oh, we're not going to relitigate that now?
I'm not going down that path. I'm just saying, like, now that we've found with pretty high degree of confidence 3 or 4 different rings of people that are using these mechanisms, it's like, oh, looking back in hindsight, of course that could have been easy fucking access. Two people that know each other and have a financial interest in one another playing the same fucking game. You know, nobody's policing this sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, I just.
And apparently the new cool way to fold in 2024 is to helicopter the cards with about 3 feet of air.
Yeah, that's very
and
common.
that came up in TDA too. And it's like, okay, no helicoptering.
Yeah,
but I thought we have to talk about this.
I mean, but who enforces this stuff, right? Like, you put so much onus on dealers, and again, it's like you're hiring 1,000 new dealers for the WSOP. Yeah. What the hell can they enforce?
You should never be able to fold past chest high.
Look, I don't think cards should ever leave the felt. You know, like. And trust me, I played in the loosest environment in the world. You know, like, we're so chill about everything. And that's why we're cheatable, by the way. Because,
take our money.
Well, it's kind of true. It's like, look, I shouldn't say that so flippantly because, like, I caught on very quickly. I was suspicious, like, really fucking quickly. And it was like, okay, like, I'm watching this guy like a hawk. And then there turned out to be, like, this whole procedure that he went through where it's like, AirPod case on the left, phone on the right of the rail that never moved once in 16 hours. Every time he'd play a hand, he would look at it in front of his chips, cap his cards, and then whenever it was his turn, bring it back to the phone, flip it up again, bring it back, cap his cards, and he has earbuds in the whole time. It's like,
oh my God,
something's going on here. Like, the guy hasn't lost at Showdown in 3 days. You know, something's very likely.
How did he go 3 days? Like, how did it?
Because these guys present as whales.
Oh my God.
You know, it's like, imagine.
Except they never, they're whales, except they never lose at Showdown.
Yeah,
so you've got Postle.
Think about the hands that they might have there because they know information. So they just look like whales as well.
Right.
They come
that's
off
the thing.
looking
Like,
as
he
whales.
cold called a 4-bet with 9-7 off.
Yeah.
And versus me in a spot where, like, I bet checked on king 9-4 all spades. I have king queen with the queen of spades. Turn, like, deuce, I bet again. He calls river offsuit 9. I check and he just 3x pots. And it's like, what is going on here? Like, it's a monotone board. The board's now paired. I block king's full. Like, I could have king's full. You cold called a 3-bet. What the fuck? I call 9-7 offsuit red.
You know,
it's okay.
I had counter buddies, blackjack counter buddies that would get barred. And basically, the pit guy would say to them, "We don't know what you're doing, but
we don't care.
What we do know is that you're beating us, right?" I would kind of think that you'd be in the same situation. Like, you seem to be a whale because you're showing up with all these wacky cards. But then again, you never lose a showdown.
Me, yes. And then the conversation begins internally where it's like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? How fishy is it? Let's all talk amongst ourselves and figure out, like, because, like, the last thing you want to do is be accusatory of somebody who's just getting lucky.
Right.
Like, if he's truly a guy who's looking to give it away, but he's just running really hot, you don't want to just, like, give that guy the boot. But when it doesn't pass the sniff test after a certain period of time and everybody in the game's losing, it's just like, well, what the fuck is going on here? You have 6 pros in a rec and the recreational is winning all the money over and over and over again. It's like something's amiss, you know?
There's a line in Goldfinger: once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, and thrice is enemy action.
I like that. I like enemy action.
At what point do you think you can publicly talk about what happened this summer?
Soon, I think.
Okay.
It's going to be public.
And if not, I can definitely, I'm very confident, start to talk about the Bahamas stuff. Because it never really saw the light of day. It was never really settled.
And this is all related.
I believe so.
Okay.
I think it's all intertwined. But I'm not positive. And I want to, like, cross my T's and dot my I's before I get too public about stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's a few guys in town that they've just been notoriously getting banned room by room by room by room that you know, we're pretty sure he has a camera and his sunglasses that are sitting on the felt. Jesus. It's just like, it's the most it's such a unsophisticated way of going about it, but it's such a big vulnerability that can easily be corrected, and like by just switching the dealer pitch.
Yep.
I mean, that and just like things off the table. I mean, that would help, right?
It helps, but like that, I just don't think that's the place you can police it. I think it's very similar to marking cards, for example. Instead of cutting everybody's fingers off or telling them they can't use their fingers to touch the cards, or figuring out some sort of mechanism where, you know, you can't actually, like, instead of going digital, for instance, we just started implementing a burn card. It's like, okay, well, this will greatly reduce the potency of marking cards if we just burn the top card, because now he doesn't know what's coming. At least we can take that away from them. You know what I mean? And I think this is very similar. It's like we're not going to be able to separate technology from the person. That's not the direction that the society or the world that we live in is moving. We're becoming more integrated, not less. So instead of trying to regress to 1970 and take away any mechanisms that might be used nefariously, I think you just change protocol. You just change the protocol to take away the vulnerability. That's just proper security measure.
I mean,
like, oh, they're catching the dealer's pitch because it's too high or because it's off the felt at all. Okay, don't let it be off the felt anymore.
Makes perfect sense.
You know, it's a solution. It's a annoying one, and it's going to take some time to implement, but like, it's very important that people get on board for this
dealers,
stuff.
if you want to make a lot of money, come over and start a dealer school here.
That's another thing. I mean, I won't go too much on that tangent, but like, it's crazy to me that there isn't more coordination between these tours, between rooms and dealer schools. Like we tried to get one off the ground pre-World Series, and there's just no, like, you would think something like the WSOP that's in high demand for this would just be paying the tuition of sorts. You know what I mean? Just like getting to a point where there's a marriage between a well-established academy for dealers and the WSOP. And it's just like, okay, well, we need 200 dealers, so we're going to give you 200 scholarships. You offer them out to the public, train them up, send us people who are competent at the job. And if we fail, then the contract dies. You know what I mean? It's a free market. It makes a lot of sense. That's not the way it works at all. Not even a little bit. You put the onus on the person to spend a bunch of money to try to get trained up and then hope that they are able to get hired. Now, don't get me wrong, like, it's not that hard to get hired, as we've seen based off of the actual mechanics of the dealers. But it's a big risk, I think, for a lot of people to want to pony that up. And then additionally, like, they don't even need it. You could just go to the World Series, do a half-assed job at the audition and just be like, yeah, we need you.
Well, apparently
the need is greater than the demand.
Apparently their auditions were
scrapped.
They were through camera.
Yeah.
They were all like video calls and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you had a pulse,
right,
good job.
Right. Right. So the standard here is incredibly low, and the systems are very, very, very broken. There's a lot of business opportunity there to fix them. It's just there doesn't seem to be a lot of cooperation. I don't know. That's my final rant for the day. All right, let's get out of here. We have a new episode of Poker Out Loud up today. This is episode 4 of season 11. Still playing stand-up, still playing all the fun games. If you want to see what it's like to kind of strategize, if you will, new wrinkles in real time by a bunch of people who haven't looked at answers, this is the season for you. I think we got a little bit of a tease that we're going to play right now.
My hand can either overlimp or raise really big. Raise.
I think I'm gonna go somewhat polar here. We're gonna go 35 blinds.
Obviously this all seems very light, but it's just because we're playing stand-up games, so there's a huge ante in the middle to consider.
325. All in.
We do have actually a lot of equity because we do have a double gather plus a flash draw. Actually, we have enough to call. I mean, we're always behind. We just need to spike our outs pretty much. Call.
Call. Ace high. She has a jack.
Pain. It was a value jam.
Oh, what a wild game we choose to play. God, man, watching highlights of stand-up game, it's like, it's old school poker, man. Your street.
It's fun.
So much gamble involved.
I want to play the next one.
Love it. Love to see it. Maybe we'll have you, Conrad.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us today. We're going to be joined tomorrow in studio by Jesse Sylvia. He's coming a day early. We're going to discuss Player of the Year race between Osmus and Seiver. We're going to rehash some of the finer points of Seiver's bracelet, as well as dig into what he's going to be up to for the main event, hopefully playing it.
I just love when you have Jesse on because he's so articulate.
He's great.
And if you would just get him to talk about mixed games, and I know it's not your thing, but it's
no, I mean, when he's here, I'm happy
he
to.
He talks about it, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's so smart.
Well, you're going to get a heavy dose of it tomorrow because we're going to be talking a lot of Deuce to 7 for sure.
You'll love to hear it.
Wednesday, we're going to be joined by Stapes. He's here promoting his latest, I think he's doing a stint at the Space again.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we should go.
Yeah, for sure. It's great. If you guys haven't been, you have to. It's really a wonderful time. But he's going to pop in on Wednesday. And then Thursday's 4th of July. I don't know if we're going to be here or not. I haven't made that decision. So stay tuned.
Let's fucking go. Landy found the double.
Let's go.
Someone gifted the lot, he said.
Oh, my God.
That's what we're talking. So how many bigs does he have?
He has...
Infinite.
About 200.
Let's go.
That is what we are talking about.
Let's go.
Matt, you have outs. You may not be broke at the end of the summer.
Today's the day. Today's the day we get rich, boys.
Let's get it
or
poppin'.
unstuck, anyway.
At least unstuck. All right, I'm out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Pacific.
Thanks,
Later.
gents.
See ya. Thanks, Lee.